be with you because of track. I am going to take some notes with you guys through this video and also give you clear instructions over the project you'll be working on this week and next week. So the first thing I want to do right now is take 2 slides of notes over the nullification crisis. This was an important event in Andrew Jackson's presidency, and it will be helpful to your project as well. So the first thing I want you to do is get out your notebook and turn to the next blank page. Once you do that, I want you to title and date your notes just like business as usual. And today's lesson notes are nullification crisis. It's also printed on the board in the usual area, and also today's date is March 21st, 2019. At any time that I'm going too fast for you guys, just tell the sub to pause this video, and you can catch up with notes, and she'll resume the video once you get caught up. So let's get started. After you get your notebook out, make sure that you have a pencil ready to go, and let's get started. All right, the nullification crisis. So the nullification crisis happened during Andrew Jackson's presidency. Before we get started, I want us to define nullify. We have done this before in the John Adams notes, but I just want to clarify what this word means because it is important to our project. Nullify means to cancel. So an example sentence would be, I want to nullify the rule about wearing a collared shirt to school. Okay, a lot of us would probably want to nullify this rule. So I thought it would be a good sentence to use. So my question is, this will tie into our lesson, our notes in the next slide. Do you think you have the right to nullify school rules if you don't like them? Think about that question. Do you have that right as a student, Midland Christian? If you don't like a rule, can you nullify it? This is a question that they're going to face in around 1829 when Andrew Jackson fights with the state of South Carolina, and they're going to fight over whether or not South Carolina has the right to nullify national laws. And in the same way, you may think you have the right to nullify school rules that are above you, if you don't like them. So let's go ahead and dive in to our notes. Now, everything on this next slide, I want you guys to write down. All right. So in 1832, South Carolina wanted to nullify or cancel a tax on imported goods that was passed in 1828. So they wanted to not follow one of these tax laws that the national government has put in place over the state of, actually all the states of the United States. And so they felt, as cotton farmers, that this tariff didn't help them and only helped the wealthy eastern factories in the north. And it really made cotton farmers suffer in the south. It wasn't fair. They're like, hey, here in the South, we're suffering because of this tax. However, this tax only benefits the factories in the North. It was not fair. And so they were angry, and they told President Jackson that states have the right to not follow national laws. They said, as states, we have rights to, and we feel, since this law does not benefit us, that we do not have the right to follow it. We don't have to follow it. We don't have to follow your rules. In fact, we're not going to. So Jackson felt a loss of control, and he felt the national government would have no power if he let the states decide if they wanted to follow the rules or not. And there was lots of debates going on, a lot of turmoil, but to create peace and pretty much prolong a civil war will be based on states' rights. The states have the rights to have their own rules and choose to not follow national rules. To us, it may seem kind of silly. Why would you not follow the rules that authority has put over you, right? Like here at school, we have rules, and you would probably get punished if you were to not follow a rule. You will get punished if you don't follow a rule here at Millen Christian School. And so it seems kind of silly to us for South Carolina to stand up and say that they don't have to follow rules if they don't want to. It doesn't make sense to us. But back then they felt that they had, as states, they had the right to choose what rules, that they don't have to follow national rules. They could nullify it. Anyways, Jackson created the Compromise Tariff of 1833 to make peace. And really what he did is he just prolonged the Civil War for another 30 years. But states' rights is going to be an issue that they're going to face for really the next 30 years. It's eventually going to start the Civil War. Do states have rights that the national government cannot interfere with will be the question. So make sure you have all this written down. If you want more information, I would really urge you to get on a computer and research. That's why I really didn't cover this extensively. I wanted to give you guys some opportunity, some willpower to research this issue for yourself and learn more about it. So I will require you to use this in your project, but feel free to research in your book or on the computer with a reliable website. Okay, now what we're going to do is you have been given a Andrew Jackson project instruction sheet. It's front and back, and at the top it's faded, but it says Andrew Jackson final project. The key question is, was Jackson a hero or a villain? So we're going to jump into this project instructions. If you need to stop this video and continue to write notes, just let the sub know. She'll pause it, and then whenever you guys are caught up, she'll move forward. Let's begin with the Andrew Jackson project. So everyone take a second and look at this instruction sheet that you've been given. This will help guide you in how you're going to do this project correctly. We're going to go through piece by piece together in this video so that you feel confident today and the rest of this week. I will be back on Monday to help answer questions and really help you guys out. So let's begin with the goals of this project. Read with me as I read aloud. So students will be able to analyze and evaluate what they have learned about Jackson to determine whether or not they would consider him to be a hero or a villain in history. So basically what you're doing is you're going to decide if you think Jackson was a hero or if he was a villain. Okay? The most important part of this project is that I want you to provide evidence of why you think Jackson is a hero or a villain. I'm not going to grade you right or wrong. Like, I don't care if you choose a hero or a villain. That's not the purpose of this project. The purpose is for you to provide evidence of examples of what Jackson has done in his life that make you think he was either a hero or a villain. So you're providing evidence. For example, I could say, I'm going to Mars, or I've been to Mars. A lot of you would laugh at that. You're like, no, you've never been to Mars. If I don't have evidence to back that statement up, it's worthless. The same thing with this project. I want you to be able to back up your reasoning of why you think Jackson was a hero or a villain based on certain examples in his life. Okay? So that's going to be the main part. I'll expound more on that as we get to the requirements of this project. Let's move on to the due dates. Okay, I want you to change it. On the sheet, it says March 26th and 27th. You are going to cross it out and write 27th and 28th. Since you are A day, your project will be due the 27th. Make sure that you know that, okay? If it is not turned into me by the 27th, it will be a 0. You have today to work on it. You have all weekend. You also have Monday and Tuesday to work on it. I will be with you to answer questions on Monday and help you. This is a very simple project in the scheme of things, so don't feel like this is a huge project. It really isn't. All you're doing is telling me why you think Jackson is a hero or a villain in your own words, okay? Based on what he's done in his life. Okay, let's move on to project goals. we've kind of gone over that, so we're going to skip through to project options. So here's how you can present your project to present your reasoning of why you think Jackson is a hero or a villain. Okay, you can either write a Time magazine article, quote unquote. Okay, you can pretend to be a magazine editor or a writer, and you're going to write an article of why you think Jackson is a hero or a villain and give your reasoning based on evidence from his life. You can write or create a song or rap lyrics. I want you to type and print those so I can see those clearly. You can write a poem of your choice, typed and printed. You can create an epitaph and write a funeral speech about Jackson, typed and printed. I'll give you an example of what you can do with that. Create and perform a short skit play about Jackson's presidency, or create a movie trailer and act it out. You can create a hero or wanted poster for Andrew Jackson. That's been a very popular option. A wanted poster is like you see I have some examples of those that you can look at. I have paper on the back bar with colored pencils and big paper that you can actually draw that out if you'd like. You can create a website using Weebly.com. If you are not computer literate, or you feel like you don't know how to do a lot of things on computers, do not choose a website just because it's going to make it 1,000 times harder on you. Make this project easier, okay? These are your options. Let's move on to a few examples that I can relay to you. So right here's if you've ever seen Time magazine, it's very popular. This is one of Trump, probably back in the 1980s. You can write a Time magazine article. You can make a wanted poster. Here is a like a drawing version of one that you can actually make yourself. There's also some other ideas for wanted. You can see they have a picture, they have their name, and you can give a little paragraph right here about why you think he was a villain, Jackson was a villain. And you can give all the reasonings and examples of why he was a villain down below on the wanted poster. Okay, there's one for Billy the Kid, but of course you're doing one about Jackson and Jackson only. Here is some other examples. This was probably made on Word. It was very simple. It said wanted at the top, has the name. You can put Andrew Jackson, his reward, and you can see this little paragraph right here. I thought that was great. It's simple. If you're not, very creative or whatever, this could be a great option for you. It's very simple, but it gets to the point. It has a paragraph about what, his you can put the paragraph of Jackson, why do you think Jackson was a villain or a hero? Okay. This one right here is, you can do both. His hero, examples of ways he was heroic in his presidency and ways that he was a villain in his presidency. You can do both. That's cool too. If you want to take both sides, that's fine. Here's some hero posters right here, guys. This is, you can do like an Avengers thing. It'd be kind of fun. You can write like why you think Jackson was a hero down below. It would be really creative. Here is an epitaph. This is what you put on a gravestone when someone dies. It kind of summarizes their life. You can find this picture and put some text behind it and say Andrew Jackson and write a little paragraph about why you think what his legacy was as a president. Was he a villain or was he a hero? That would be a good way to do that. But here are no matter how you do it, the requirements are the same. You must include the following words and topics in your project: Jackson Democracy, Jackson's Bank War, Spoil System, Trail of Tears, Indian Removal Act, Nullification. So you must include these topics in your little paragraph or your bullet points, however you want to do it, that explain to me why you think Jackson was a hero or a villain. Okay? So, but you have to include these certain topics in your reasoning for me to give you full credit. All of them. Not just one or two, all of them. You got to tie them in somehow to prove to me that you think Jackson is a hero or a villain. Okay. On the back, flip over the back, there is a rubric. Okay. Rubrics are awesome because they tell you exactly how you can earn an A. Read through this rubric where it says meet expectations. This is how I'm going to grade you. Okay, it's very simple. There's accuracy, required elements, use of class time, originality, and creativity. Also presentation. The presentation's going to be very simple. I'm putting you guys in groups of 4, and you are going to present in groups of 4 with 2 to 3 minutes of speaking time. Okay, so it's going to go very quickly. I don't like doing projects can be forever long if everyone stands up and gives their spiel. You're just going to present to a group of 4. Okay? Moving forward, so here's a project work time rules. If computers do not work, don't just sit there and say, I can't do my project because the computer doesn't work. Do not waste time. Make a written copy or design your own project on paper and make it on the computer later. You can write out a draft of the written part of the project if you don't know how to use a computer. So you can write the text part. If you want to give me your explanation, including all those topics, and telling me why you think he's a hero or a villain, that would be a great way to do that, okay? You may want to work with a partner to help find info, but you cannot have the same project. So you can work with them and say, hey, what did you put down for Jackson's bank war? How did you summarize that? Or how did you include it? Y'all can brainstorm together, but you cannot turn in the same project with the same wording with everything the same, because I will both give you 0 for cheating, okay? Do not cheat. Make sure that you think for your own self. Working class, guys, you had this opportunity to get a lot of stuff done, so you don't have to go home this weekend and spend your entire weekend doing this project. And honestly, you rather go home and hang out and do the stuff that you want to do. You don't want to do homework. So use this time wisely while you're here anyways and get your project done. It'll be so much better. Before we get to that, I want you guys we're going to do a quick chart, T-chart, to help you think through some of these big topics in Jackson's life. And we're going to distinguish whether we think he was a hero or a villain, okay? So this will help you organize your thoughts about Jackson and make this project a little bit easier than it is. All right, so let me get this. So here is my hero and villain T-chart. I have all the required elements down here, the 6 topics that I want you to include in your reasoning of why you think Jackson is a hero or a villain. To me, this is where each of these topics landed. So for example, I made a T-chart, and one side it says hero and one side says villain. And so what I did is I organized these topics in Jackson's presidency of what I thought they landed on. So I felt the spoils system, the Trail of Tears, and the Native American Act landed in the villain portion of the T-chart. So I felt like that Jackson was a villain in these specific topics. So these specific things that he did in his presidency. So for example, the spoils system, Jackson hired his friends and fired government officials. Okay, I feel like he was a villain in that. You may think he was a hero, so put that on the hero side of your T-chart. Your T-chart's going to look different than my T-chart, okay? Moving forward, so the Trail of Tears, he forced Native Americans to walk 1,000 miles at gunpoint in a new location in Oklahoma. I thought that was a villain move of Jackson, so I put that in the villain category. Finally, the Native American Removal Act, the law passed by Jackson forcing Native Americans out of homeland to a new location in Oklahoma. OK means Oklahoma. Okay, I thought that was a villain move. However, I felt he was a hero with his Jackson democracy. I felt like he had a really great presidency. He promised to allow common people to participate in government. Thought that was a great move for Jackson. Same thing with the bank war. He stopped the unfair bank that favored the wealthy Easterners. Western farmers were able to succeed because of Jackson. So what I did is I just categorized each of these important things in Jackson's presidency, and I categorized them either what I thought was a hero move or a villain move, okay? Do this right now. I already gave you these really nice summaries that you can put next to the topics, so you can but what I want you to do is I want you to categorize these things. Do you think it was a villain move for Jackson's bank war? Do you think the Trail of Tears was actually a hero move for Jackson? So what you're going to do is you're going to place these events in what you think Jackson was a hero doing or what a villain was doing. This will help you clarify how you want to move forward with this project. Okay, so make sure that you think through these pieces and put them on the side where you think Jackson was a hero or a villain. This will help you summarize those things that we've talked about and help you move forward with your project. If you have any more questions, guys, please be sure to reach out to me, my email. You have an email address now, so which is really awesome. And email with me any questions, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Like I said, I'll be here Monday. Be super awesome, work hard, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks, guys.